And our goal at the time was to create a tool that would objectively analyze or objectively screen for autism. Autism never comes alone. So autism is always autism and related disorders. There's quite a long list, so that there's still a lot of stigma where some parents may even want to hide their children.
Why is early diagnosis necessary, and especially for our setting in Africa, and even now narrowing down to Kenya? Why would the early screening be necessary?
That's a very good question, because I think
Hi there, welcome to AI Healthbeat Africa, the podcast where we explore how artificial intelligence is transforming healthcare across the continent. I'm your host, Valentine Kamau. On today's episode, we are discussing how an AI-powered innovation is making autism screening faster and more accessible. And just to set the stage, let me share some numbers. According to the World Health Organization, globally, 1 in every 100 people is on the autism spectrum. And for children, the number is about 1 in every 160. And here lies the challenge for Africa. Autism screening is often hard to access, and the screening tools are often not built to our context. Now, to help me unpack this conversation is Dr. Wamuyu, who is the Chief Executive Officer at iZola. Hi, Dr. Wamuyu.
Hi, Valentine. I'm very happy to be here.
Nice to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're joining us all the way from Germany. How are you?
Yes, I am seated just outside of Frankfurt, about 20 minutes from Frankfurt am Main, right in the center. Many people probably know it because it's the key airport, I think, somehow flowing through here.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this conversation, and we'll just get right into it. You'll just take us through your journey, things like your education background, and now we'll just dive into the iZola innovation and how that came about. So over to you.
Good. So my name is Dr. Wamuyu Owotoki. I am Kenyan by birth. I am a pharmacist. I studied pharmacy many, many years ago, I would say, and then did a PhD in medicinal chemistry here in Germany. Worked in the pharma industry in a strategy for some of the major pharmaceutical companies. And then came COVID. Everybody sort of sat down and started rethinking, what are the most important things that I'm doing in my life right now? And right after, my co-founder and I founded a company called Vitafluence, which is based here. It's an AI digital health company. We started off, we were developing digital biomarkers, which we'll discuss a lot in this podcast. And we started working in Kenya. We got to meet the iZola community of a lot of families whose children have autism and other unrelated disorders. And this is how we came about. And this is me, I would say. I'm also a mother, 2 kids, all of them still in school. And feel free to ask me any questions you want to ask.
Great, really nice introduction there. Common points that we are both mothers of 2, so really nice. That commonality there, and really nice background, pharmacist, and you've really worked across many international companies, so really good background over there. And now, if you can just take us through the innovation and what made what sparked in your mind, between you and your co-founder, what was the need? What need was there?
Yeah, so coming from the a medical pharmaceutical background, and my co-founder has a background in AI. So he did a PhD in AI more than 15 years ago, before it became popular like it is right now. And we wanted to combine our skills to create something that would be of value, and also to build Africa, to build us, to build who we are. So we set out to build a company that would be that would create AI tools that are ethical, that are representative, and so ethical and representative. That's the key things. So we wanted to make sure, having worked in the industry, you see a lot of studies, for example, where they have like very, very small percentage of Black people in it, and want to create tools or contribute to the creation of tools that are relevant across the world.
Great. I think that aspect of ethical and representation is really important, especially in the health industry. And now, if you can just explain to us about the autism spectrum disorder and why and how the iZola solution comes into play. Just take us through the autism spectrum disorder.
Mm-hmm. So I'll start from the beginning. So the first description in scientific literature was by an Australian American psychiatrist. So he defined autism, and one of the things that he talked a lot about was the sing-song nature of autism. And throughout literature, you see it repeated, the unique characteristics of the voice patterns. And this has gone on through scientific literature. And we looked at it and we thought, one can take these unique characteristics and look and see, why wouldn't an AI be able to analyze it, like taking different characteristics of the voice, and then we can create a biomarker out of it. So a biomarker is, for example, insulin. Insulin is a biomarker. You can test insulin and know that somebody has diabetes. Today, and we're part of this development, there are digital biomarkers. Digital biomarkers would be, for example, voice biomarkers, social emotional biomarkers. So some of the individuals with autism would tend towards non-social objects. So if you have a picture with social aspects in it and non-social aspects, they would be more looking towards the non-social aspects. And these are all things that can be captured using AI. And our goal at the time was to create a tool that would objectively analyze or objectively screen for autism.
That explanation really gets into it, especially the aspect of the social biomarkers, non-social biomarkers, and how this is actually interpreted by someone who is on this neurodivergent scale. And so now this brings me to a point of, so why is early diagnosis necessary, and especially for our setting in Africa, and even now narrowing down to Kenya, why would the early screening be necessary?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I think each of us knows somebody who was struggling in a way in school, maybe, or has difficulties in, I don't know, different aspects. Maybe the child does not play with other kids, or and then the teachers don't know what to do. And the parents also don't know what to do, or the family members don't know what to do. And if we have early screening, this leads to early intervention. And early intervention has been proven to lead to better outcomes. So as soon as the child is screened early, today there are tools being developed as early as 9 months using baby cries, for example. I know of a group, I think in Canada, but at least from 2 years old, to have an idea and say, you can already screen, and they get the diagnosis from a professional. We have not so many in Kenya, but at least you can screen and then send them to the experts, the neurodevelopmental pediatricians, or the psychologists, the others who are allowed to make this diagnosis. And then once they have the diagnosis, then they would be able to already start therapy in a way that can be monitored to make sure that this works. And therapies would include speech therapy, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and all the other therapies that are available. So this is one thing that iZola does. So VitaFluence is creating the screening AI tools, and iZola is providing the therapies.
I like that that journey you're taking us through for everyone to understand. So the VitaFluent company, that's the parent company, creates the AI tools,
Yeah.
and then the iZola is now implementing the early screening. And if I can just take you back a bit about, so it's not only autism, you also focus on other neurodivergent journeys.
Yes, that's correct. And the reason is that autism never comes alone. So autism
Mm-hmm.
is always autism and related disorders. There's quite a long list, so that very rarely is a person only with autism. There's ADHD, there is like other neurodevelopmental disorders that are connected with it. So it wouldn't make sense to just look only at autism. But then again, you need to start somewhere. So for the screening, we started with autism, and now, for example, right here in Germany, we're working with the university to see if one can differentiate between autism and selective mutism. So selective mutism is when children speak, but only in specific situations. They might speak at home or only with people that they know, but then the other times they don't want to speak. So it's selective. And quite often they are misdiagnosed as having autism. So it's not something, I don't think autism is something that you can look at alone by itself. And you mentioned something that I wanted to underline, that the screening happening at iZola is still under clinical setting, a clinical research setting, because we're still validating the tool.
That's really good to point out. And actually, on your earlier point, selective mutism, that's a very interesting one. And that I would really want to get into more information about that. But just going back on what you are alluding to,
Yeah.
what would the barriers be? What are the current barriers now in the African context and in Kenya? What are these barriers to screening?
Also a very good one. I think so. You mean like maybe I start by differentiating the setting right now. So
Yes.
typical screening would be in an ideal situation, somebody notices something, either the teacher, the parents, or somebody else in the child's life notices maybe they're not hitting some milestones. And then in the ideal situation, they would have access to go to a neurodevelopmental pediatrician who would then conduct the screening. Currently, the screening takes several hours because it's based on questionnaires, which are the current assessment tools. For example, ADOS or ADIR. There's one called CARS, depending on where you are and what tools are available at the institution that you're going for screening for diagnosis. It takes very long. ADOS, for example, is an observation tool. And that's why it takes long. How the child interacts with, they're presented with toys, and how do they interact with the toys? Or when they come into the doctor's office, do they go directly to the doctor, or do they prefer to just play with the cars that are somewhere there, and then you maybe using that they're able to judge social and unsocial? If we can have a tool, for example, a game or something that a child can use in technology that would help to already screen earlier and do this in 30 minutes maximum. So by the time the child is entering the doctor's office, the doctor already has an idea what to do. Then it doesn't take so long, and then it's also relatively objective. That's our goal.
I can totally relate with that. That aspect of the early screening, and this actually makes me think this is something that most families would not actually have access to, because actually earlier when I was watching some of the YouTube videos on the iZola channel, some of the parents there were saying they really had no idea that their child had some developmental, challenges. They just thought, oh, maybe they're just not hitting the milestones. And especially I saw one mother saying she was previously a mom to two girls, and then she got a boy. So everyone she sought advice from was telling her, "Oh, this is a boy. They take a bit long."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how 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 does that, how do you go about that, and how do you actually now uh, educate people that you would actually need to get screening? How do you disseminate all this information?
Yeah, so what I described earlier would be the ideal situation, but
Mm,
things are not ideal. So
yeah.
immediately somebody notices, immediately they have access to some of the major hospitals in Nairobi.
Mm,
Um, but the reality is that many parts of Kenya do not have a neurodevelopmental pediatrician.
mm,
The reality currently is that so somebody has to travel, organize their travel all the way to come to Nairobi. I think Mombasa may have some, or to one of the major urban hubs to get the screening and the diagnosis, which is also very expensive. So non-ideal situation. The challenge is, as you rightly described, is there's still a lot of stigma where some parents may even want to hide their children, or nobody's understanding what's happening, both in the school setting and also in the extended family setting. Um, and we started out by having a community. So everything that we're developing is together with the the people we're developing it for. So we have, and we still work together very much with the autism community, some of the parents groups that are there. We have continuously organized awareness meetings. We have continuous training on iZola, mostly virtual, and sometimes currently there is a holiday camp going on where the caregivers also have access to the experts and can ask any questions they have. We have an exciting tool called Xaidi that we launched in November 2023, which is an AI health helper, an LLM, almost like a chatbot, you would say, but it's specifically trained with scientifically sound data. So it's not just a tool that scouts everything on the internet. And the families can go in there and ask the questions they need and get the answers they need. They might be able to contact therapists through Xaidi. It's called Xaidi. You find it a lot on, I'm sure you saw it also on YouTube.
yes, I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's
Um,
available on the on the Play Store, and also for the iPhone. And yeah, interesting. One of the stories we had is when we were launching it, because we definitely, like I mentioned, we want to work with focus groups of parents, of people who are going to use these tools. And one of the moms told us and said, "Can I give this ID to my family or to my friends? Then they can go and ask and figure out what's happening in my child, because I'm tired of answering these questions all the time."
always explaining.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Oh, that aspect of using Zaidi, that's, now the AI aspect comes in. It's a large language model, it's sort of in the chatbot setting. But I
Yeah.
like that it's placing the human at the center, human in the loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, the aspect of community, how you're having these focus groups, and because there's a whole community of people who, have been affected by autism, are parents to the autistic children. So that community aspect is very important. And now that brings me to another point. So just take us through how does one actually interact with the app? You've told us it's we can download it, but
Mm-hmm.
can you just get a bit into it? Like on a day to day, it's a helper. It's supposed to be a helper.
Mm-hmm.
So just tell us, how on a day to day basis, how would this help actually come into play, just to help us understand?
Yeah. So Xaidi is a health helper built specifically for not just the families, but also individuals with autism, because we know that today, like most people are on the phones and on the internet. And if you can have a location or an app that is curated for them, that's also important. So what one does is you download it and log in and get yourself registered. And then regularly you can ask all the questions that you need that are autism and related. One can also chat with a therapist. So this is something that's currently about to be launched. So if the families of iZola who already have an iZola therapist should be able to continue a conversation with their therapist on Xaidi. We're also using Xaidi to manage the registration and the appointments at the therapy center itself for therapy sessions, both online and also at the center. So Xaidi is many things in many ways. There's also a task planner. There's also something that helps you to remember when to take your medicine. So I would just encourage, just go in there and play with it and see everything that can be done. But it's available on all the app stores. It's called Xaidi, it's Xaidi.
That explanation really, that really takes anyone who would be interested in that. It's quite easy. I downloaded the app myself, and
Yeah.
actually, I saw one of the parents who has used this, saying her daughter, who is almost a preteen, was actually using it to learn different things, and she put it in such an interesting way that the daughter, she feels the daughter will actually now use Zaidi, just to ask questions that she may actually not to want to ask the mom. So I really like that aspect of it, giving the child independence, because the goal of any parent is to see your child grow and be independent. So really good that in our digital age, even neurodivergent children, will get access to this kind of independence. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that really hits, really touches on a daily aspect how it would be used.
Yeah. And
Great.
we have
Yeah.
made sure, if I may add, we have made sure that the context is Kenyan. So if it's Kenya, it's also being developed in Switzerland and also in the Middle East, in Qatar. For the Kenyan users, it's Kenyan. So it's not telling you, if you ask for a recipe, it's not giving you ingredients that are not available in Kenya, for example.
Yeah.
So to localize the solutions or the context, to contextualize it to Kenya. It is still for adults right now, but I know that many people would want to like close your eyes and say children are not using, or children should not use these gadgets, but then they're all over the internet. People give their kids the phones all the time. We hope we can bridge that gap with time to make sure that what the children or the answers they're getting are first of all based on scientific evidence, peer-reviewed evidence,
Yeah.
and also safe content when they're asking questions about themselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
Great. So still for the adults to hopefully, what if your child gets access to it, always be there to supervise, right?
Absolutely. Using under supervision, but
Yeah.
whatever people are doing. So not necessarily Zaidi, but I know it's
Yeah.
a big discussion in the autism community whether
Yeah.
children should be on screens or not on screens.
Yeah.
We need still to educate ourselves more. So on the one hand, they need to be prepared for the world that's coming. On the other hand, there is
Yeah.
definitely need for supervision.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned about a holiday camp that's currently ongoing. So we are currently in August, in case this airs in a different month. So tell us about the holiday camp, and maybe over, as you're telling us about that, you can also tell us the different kinds of therapy. You alluded to that earlier, the different kinds of
Mhm.
therapy that are offered at iZola, the physical clinic.
Yeah, so iZola physically is at on Kiambu Road, and it's part of the community outreach things that we do. We regularly have. We started out with music camps, then we've had meetings at some restaurants, for example, where we invite parents for some training, where we have some of our therapists talking to our clients and answering their questions. And now, since we launched our own physical location, we have it's fully equipped now, and it's already open, and people come for therapy. But in August, we know from hearing from the community that quite often parents don't know what to do. You're still working, but you need your child to be somewhere where they continue to be engaged, um, and also taken care of, and you have peace of mind. So this camp is running right now at the iZola Center. The therapies that we offer, you asked me that. We have occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and speech therapy. That makes me very happy because there has not been any speech therapists. There's no speech therapy in school. They're just like the school in Kenya. So we just managed to get one from another country who is going to be working at iZola. And then we wait for the ones from KMTC who are just about to graduate. That's a very new thing.
The speech therapy.
Yeah, the speech therapy has been a question for many Kenyan families. Where do you get it? Initially, we offered it online. We had a speech therapist from Germany who was offering speech therapy, for our iZola families. And now I'm very happy to announce we are about to have a physical person working at the center.
Amazing. I'm sure that will really be a great addition to all the other services that you're offering. And you mentioned previously it was the online, like the online speech therapy. And I know you offer a mix of in person, there's the online, there's the hybrid. How is that set up? Does that go out?
Yeah, so we're quite proud. So we are a tech company, definitely. Everything that we do is surrounded by being an AI-driven company and providing solutions using AI. So we have virtual therapy that's possible. We've had a therapist offering therapy virtually to a client in Meru because they could not access occupational therapy there, and in other parts of Kenya. We had virtual therapy, or we've had and continue to have play therapy by therapists out of South Africa, music therapy by therapists out of Germany. And the majority of it was physical therapists in Nairobi. And we're built in a way where we have a mix of hybrid therapy, virtual and also physical, and at home and at the center right now. We want to offer a range of solutions for the different family settings. And at school-based therapy. So then the family does not have to make an extra trip somewhere else.
That's really interesting. The different services that you offer means that almost everyone can, whether you are far from Nairobi or even in the school setting or you want the therapy at home, it means you can access the therapy in your preferred location. That's a really good addition. And now going back to something that you mentioned about, there's the data. We know that for an AI tool, data is needed. And if you can just tell us about how you work around the data privacy, data protection, and especially right now, we know there was the recent launch of the Kenya AI strategy, and there's the regulation. We don't yet have an actual AI regulation law, even if we have data protection laws, but there's the whole topic of the data that you're using to train the AI model. Just take us through that aspect of the ethics and the responsible AI.
Uh, yeah, so I've seen I've looked. We studied in detail, of course, the Kenya AI strategy that was just
Yeah.
launched, and we're just very happy to be contributing to Kenya's goal of being an AI hub and leading innovation and driving development and economic growth using AI. We would consider ourselves to be part of the AI research and development, like based on the both co-founders' background, to create solutions. When we started, all these strategies and even the Data Protection Act had not been launched. And when we talked about one of our values being creating ethical AI solutions, the mother company is based in Germany. So right from the beginning, we have been following or made sure that we adhered to the GDPR. That's the EU Data Protection Act. And this is, I would say, the strictest in the world. And so that gave us some comfort that even though the policies and the things had not already been set, we were following, just by virtue of being based in the EU, we're following some of the strictest regulations there is. And some of the things are ensuring that people are aware that their data is being collected or used. So it's not just collecting people's data without their knowledge, getting informed consent, allowing them to, letting them know that if they ever need to, they can just simply write to the company and say, please delete my data. These are some of the things that are stipulated in the EU AI Act. And then just after we started, the KDPA was launched, and we were among the first ones knocking on their doors. We need to get registered. We need to be registered that we are one of the companies in Kenya that are working with AI, and we got that. So, and everybody regularly is trained on both the GDPR and the KDPA. So we make sure that everybody in our team is, regardless of which part of the company you're working in, either tech or health, everybody must do or go through our data protection training to follow the regulations that are there. So that gives comfort to our clients that their data is any data that we get. And it's not just even like for training data, it's even names, everything. Things like you need permission to film people at an event, or you need permission to, you need to avoid taking pictures of children. These are some of the basic things that we have made sure that everybody on the team is up to date with what the regulations are.
Great. That's great to know, especially about the GDPR in the EU. It's a very strict act. And so it's good to know you are already actually proactively following that law for data protection. And then when the Kenya Data Protection Act came into being, you are also among the first people knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like for the recent strategy, I know many stakeholders were actually involved. They had all these town halls, just getting people's opinion, people from public sector, the AI community. So it's really good to see that other partners are being involved in, making this AI regulation laws. And that's really good to hear from your side. All the safety nets that you're putting in, the guardrails that you're observing with even your staff. Really great to learn that. Great. And so now let's go into a segment that you will educate us. Now you're the AI expert over here. There's all these myths going around. We don't know what is fact, what is fiction. So I'll just read out two statements. Tell us, is it a fact? Is it a fiction? And just a bit of an explanation.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. So AI voice analysis can accurately detect early signs of neurodevelopment difference in children. Fact or fiction?
That's a fact.
Mm,
That's definitely a fact.
yeah.
Talking about how all through the years since autism was first described, there's always been the description of the unique characteristics of voice patterns. And AI can very accurately, we are still in the process of validating this, but it's described severally in literature that it is a fact. That AI voice biomarkers will help improve the screening of autism.
Great to hear from the experts. That's a fact. Next, most autism screening tools in Africa are imported and not locally validated. Is that fact or fiction?
Wow. I know we're in the process of validating.
Mm.
I know somebody can tell me something different. I would consider ourselves to be the pioneer in this work. It takes a while to bring something to the market, especially in healthcare. You have to do the proper validation. You have to collect the right data. It has to be in the right context. And we're still working on it. Our initial studies have shown that it works. That's why we're continuing. Otherwise, we would not continue. We're doing the same work in Germany. We're doing the same work in the Middle East. I do not know of a current tool that has been officially registered, unless someone can tell me something different, that has been officially approved as a tool. Maybe the ones that have been described are also still in the clinical research setting.
Yeah. So I really like that iZola, you're the pioneers in this. And in case that's not the case, I'm sure someone will write that on
Let them tell us.
Yeah, let them tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, so something else, this is something that I actually saw on your LinkedIn. There is a post that had been done about online therapy versus physical therapy. So which one is more effective? There's like a poll you did over there. Just talk a bit about that.
Yeah. We are entering a digital, and we're entering very, very fast into a digital age, or we have already entered. Now we're entering into the AI part of it. I would say currently that if you have the right equipment and the right setting, online can be just as good as physical.
Yeah.
However, I know I am a Kenyan. People want to touch.
Yes.
People want to see.
Yeah.
And this is why we launched a physical center, because everybody's like, where are you? I want to come and see where you are.
Yeah.
So this is why we have eventually ended up having a physical center. There's currently a movement in the world of click and brick, or brick and click. I think
Yeah.
that where you have something online, but you also have something physical. So I'm very convinced that both are going to go hand in hand. We
Yeah.
may come to a point where it's possible to have only online therapy or virtual
Mm.
therapy.
Yeah.
But then there is also what we discussed earlier, where it's just simply not available,
Yeah.
the physical therapy. And so rather than not have therapy,
Yeah.
please go for online therapy.
Yeah, go for online. And I'm sure during the COVID times, the online actually really helped a lot of families. And one of the things about the neurodivergent conditions, as I was learning, is being consistent in the therapy. So if you can't access, the physical therapy, I'm sure the online would be just as good.
Yeah, and another advantage I think for online is that it involves the caregiver.
Yeah.
Because then if it's like a screen and the caregiver is being told, do this and do that with your child, then
Yeah.
I think it also increases the bonding with the
Mm-hmm.
caregiver, and also the caregiver gets educated on what to do with the child when the therapist is not there, when
Mm-hmm.
the therapist
Yeah.
is not physically present. That's an
Yeah.
advantage I see also for online therapy.
Yeah, and it keeps the child in the environment that they are used to. That's something else that I noticed in the parents you were speaking to. They
Yeah.
say, yeah, about
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
environment.
Yeah, so another advantage, yeah, thanks for pointing that out, definitely, that if you're training a child to, we have some of the parents, that children are now entering adolescence or being preteens, and they're slowly learning how to make food for themselves, because the goal of occupational therapy is that you're able to live independently.
Yeah.
If you go and do therapy in the hospital setting, how does that translate? And there's studies about this as well, and research that has been done.
Yeah.
How does the in-hospital setting therapy translate into real life?
Yeah.
And there's, some discrepancies there. So ideally, if you can do it in a situation where the child is every day, either at school
Mm.
or online, or have a therapist come at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. And now let's move into. I know when you're working in this, in the neurodivergent space, something that you definitely have done is on the partnerships, and you've really been backed by some of the big names in tech. You can just take us through that and how that has worked out.
Yeah. So iZola was selected by Google AI for health startups. This is an accelerator, and we were two of the first Kenyan startups to ever join this accelerator. It was the very first one they've done in the world. So we were selected for that. So that's one thing with Google, and we continue to work with some aspects of Google with it. We were recently in Singapore. We were invited to give a talk about AI and AI strategy. We've been involved in at the African Union. We've also been invited to speak. And recently we're also in, I think it's Malawi or Mozambique.
Yeah.
So we're known there. Then, and then we are also, or we were in the Health Tech Hub Africa that's run by Bilgro out of Nairobi.
Yeah.
And these are like some of the communities that we've been able to build and to be backed by. And that helps us to know, okay, we are doing the right thing, we're on the right track.
Hmm.
When you have
Yeah.
these big names that see what you're doing and want to be part of what you're doing.
Yeah, and also gives your platform the credibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so now in these partnerships, have you explored possibly public-private partnerships, or what's the goal there?
Yeah, so that's definitely our next step, and we're working on it. That's the goal, to provide solutions that can be used. For example, Xaidi can definitely be used in a public setting. As a private public, that's one of the tools that we see that can be used by a government, for example, to monitor and to disseminate and to ensure that mental health, the goals they have set are being reached. So there's already tools and things that are in Kenya and that have been developed by Kenyans, like iZola and Xaidi, that are available to be used. But yeah, we're working on that.
The aspect of scalability is really something unique with iZola. And so I'm pretty sure this can, especially in the public health setting, this would really be transformational. It's scalable, it's sustainable. So I'm sure that will be a game changer when those partnerships do happen. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Mhm.
And now going into something else about now you're running iZola, you're based in Germany most of the time. There's a team in Nairobi. If you can just take us through any of the challenges you've had, is it identifying the talent? There's the people offering these different kinds of therapies you've mentioned, and then there's the tech part. How have you merged, that talent, and how has that gone?
Yeah, also a very good question. So, some of the challenges we've had, we've been very fortunate to have great talent,
Mm,
and it just warms my heart to see that most of the people who have joined us are growing and have grown in their AI skills.
mm,
So we have contributed and continue to contribute to the AI talent pool in Kenya.
yeah.
So there, I would not say it has been a problem because they joined us quite early. They were interested in the AI and they've grown or they continue to grow in their AI skills. The partnerships we're still working on, for example, public private. But we have good partnerships with the universities we're doing research with. We have good partnerships with the parent groups that we work with. The key challenge is funding. I don't know if
Mm,
anyone has ever solved that. They should tell
yeah.
us. Uh, Funding is one of the key challenges that we face
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah, that funding, I've had it from the different people I've been speaking to with, these AI innovation startups. Funding
Yeah.
is always a big challenge because, you're looking for the angel investors. Is it institutional funding? Then comes in the aspect of, will they get equity? Will you get debt financing?
Mm-hmm.
And all those
Mm-hmm.
things that you'll have to go through. Are you pre-seed? Are you going through series A, series B? So all those things. And so now, if you can just tell us a bit, how have you navigated that? Because iZola is still in operation.
Mm-hmm.
How have you navigated that? For any other health tech innovators, they can learn from that.
Yeah. So definitely have a good relationship or a good so the talent that you have, make sure that they're also gaining something and they're happy to work with you.
Yeah.
Um, Continue to build partnerships. So
Yeah.
be in things like, for example, the Google Health, the accelerators. There are different
Mm,
ways in which you can build a community around yourself. So a
mm,
community with other founders. This is what I
yeah.
was at advice.
Yeah.
And they come through all these accelerators. Health Tech Hub is right there in Kenya, and they're working a lot in the East Africa, Middle Africa region.
Yeah.
Google, and I'm sure there are many other big tech that have provided. It's just an accelerator, but then you come out of it. We're still
Mm,
very much part of the AI for Health, the Google startup group. We're all
yeah.
in one WhatsApp team,
Mm,
WhatsApp chat, and you keep hearing what others are going through and learning from them.
yeah.
So surrounding yourself with a community of other founders, and then you see what the challenges they're going through and how they're resolving it.
Yeah.
Um, for funding, it's just don't give up. Keep doing
Mm,
what you're doing,
yeah.
and keep telling people about that you're here,
Mm,
and also do good work. So I would say that the goal, or like your vision, it shows. It
Mm.
shows. If somebody talks to you, they know why you're doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you automatically attract um, people who want to support what you're doing
Mm.
in every aspect, or who
Yeah.
buy into your vision.
Yeah.
So be able to articulate what you're doing and let it be coming from a good place, because people want to support good things. I would
Yeah.
definitely say that.
Yeah. So the aspect of, have a community around you,
Mm-hmm.
people who are doing the same thing, and then also just don't give up on the funding. I
Yeah,
like, yeah, I
keep
like that
trying,
aspect. Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we get to a point where even Africans appreciate what
Mhm.
other Africans have invested into or put their
Yeah.
sweat into.
Yeah.
And maybe if they can, quite often some people cannot, but if they can, be willing to pay for Kenyan solutions, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And even these Kenyan solutions cannot be exported even
Mhm.
within the region, within Africa. I know you've mentioned the skill that you're already even, looking to achieve. So within Africa and even out of Africa, right?
Yeah, yeah. So looking,
Mm,
iZola definitely first within Kenya, making sure that there is a hub in every place that people can reach into, where they
mm,
can access virtual therapy, hybrid
yeah.
therapy, and in the different schools, and then across into East Africa and across Africa.
Mm,
But at the same time, not being shy to one of the studies for mini research focus group we had was in Switzerland
mm,
for Xaidi. Because everybody everywhere, regardless of where they are, they're looking for good solutions to help improve their lives.
mm.
And if you
Yeah.
have something like that, just bring it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like that. How you're looking ahead and what you're looking to do. That's a really good analogy of that. And now, just as we get into the closing segment, I will just read out a proverb just to tie this, this AI innovation that we've been talking about. How do we tie it to a cultural context? And you'll just tell me your understanding of it and based on the discussion that we've had. So here we go.
Okay.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's a really one of the most popular African proverbs. Just tell us about that.
Yeah. That is a very, very important proverb, because
Yeah.
going fast does not make you go far. So you can be very, very fast, but then you don't get to where you're going to, or you're not here in a couple of years. I remember
Mm,
one of the interviews we had, it's probably in the newspaper somewhere in Kenya, and the person asked, "Oh, how do we know you're going to be here in the next 2 years?" But we're still here, thankfully.
yeah.
But maybe that's like a symbol, or as like a sign of maybe going too fast and not going together with other people. We have made sure that everything we have been built has been together with our users. So you do not create things and then go here, use this. Make sure that you're building together with the community you're building for. That's going together. We have made sure that we apply and join and are selected and picked for different accelerators out there. So then we are also automatically together with the
Mm,
community of other founders. And then you learn a lot from each other, and you see what challenges they've gone through, so that you don't also have to do the same mistakes. Yeah, and generally building things in the context has been very important for us, that we started building in Kenya, and we're not building without Kenyans. So our
mm,
tech team is Kenyan. We are also not just building the tools, but we're also building expertise and talent.
yeah.
So in all these ways, we're making sure that we're building together so we can go far.
That's a really great analogy, building together to ensure that we go far.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really enjoyed this discussion. Just a bit, if you can tell us, any final words, anything we should have touched on. I just remembered something about the Xaidi app. If you can tell us about, the number of downloads you've had, the number of users, and then anything else that we may not have touched on that you feel is important for this conversation.
Yeah, so to date we've had, I'd have to be corrected on the number, but it's about 40,000 downloads.
Amazing.
Yeah, and we're still working on the users. We're still building, or we have built now. We are launching it as the key software that will be used for iZola, so that it becomes a one thing for a person. You can book your therapy sessions. You can talk to the iZola helper itself. You can talk to your therapist through Xaidi. And this tool has been attractive in other parts of the world, so that we're invited now to work on it, or using it for education, even in the Middle East. And yeah, so iZola can be found in the different app stores. Xaidi. Xaidi can be found in the different app stores. And I would suggest to just go in and see what you can do with it, what recipes you can find. For if your child has autism and you need to figure out how to make food the best, or if you are going to a restaurant with your child who has autism and related disorders, what is the best practice? What you need to do beforehand, how you need to prepare, all those practical tips. If you're flying or traveling with a child who has autism, just go in there and ask Xaidi.
Amazing. That's a really useful helper on the go in real time.
24/7.
24/7.
Does not go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dr. Wamuyu. I have learned a lot. You've really articulated the iZola innovation. You are transforming neurohealth journeys with AI and compassion. I've really had a good time, and I look forward to meeting you when you're back in Nairobi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Valentine. It's been a very nice conversation with you. And also, it's also good for me to remember the things and to articulate them again. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Most welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching AI Healthbit Africa. And if you've come this far, please remember to subscribe, share, and like. And goodbye for now. See you on the next one. Cut.
Okay.
Okay.
Cut.
Yeah.